like to rub it in your face. You know, we got to talk about that. You know, how much he might have to deal with that kind of nonsense.
Well, I don't know if she can say that. I don't know if she could say that. Who is she dated that was of a higher caliber than M.A.?
Well, I'm just going by because you all remember she was the business in the 90s. We probably don't know who she dated publicly, but you know how women are. They're going to tell you, oh, yeah, I dated him. I dated so-and-so. You know what I'm saying?
The only thing she could, and to a young fella who doesn't know any better, he will interpret the word dated as, oh, this guy was willing to take her off the market. Once we get past the age of 35, we recognize dated means you got laid on. But fella wasn't trying to do nothing, and we know he wasn't trying to do nothing because he had his shot, and I'm the one standing here.
Correct. And all the dudes trying to say she's fine at her age, they're all capping. We all remember the girl that we had a crush on in high school, and once you got about 30, you saw her again, and she looked busted. So we all know, like, most women can't keep. She looks good, like you said. She looks good for a 50-year-old. But most women can't make it past 55. I mean, look at Vivica A. Fox. I think she's like 60 or something like that.
Well, you know, I mean, those guys, I'm not going to say necessarily. The sad part is I can't necessarily say that they're capping, because for where they are in their station in life, they mean what they're saying, because they're not going to be held responsible for it. So it's very easy for them to say things like that because they're not going to be held accountable. They will not be held accountable. They will not be held responsible. Nobody's going to call them back and say, okay, Nia has agreed to start dating you now, as long as you will do A, B, and C. The stuff that Ime is doing now, yeah, she needs you to come in and start shoring that up. But she's ready to jump ship and be with you. Not a one of those fellas is going, all you're going to hear is a dial tone as soon as you say that.
And,
so as long as they're not responsible for the crap they're talking, they'll be fine.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, she has a kid, so that's another mark right there. Like, who waits that long to have a kid? So she has no choice but to stay. She's smart. But like you said, having a Facebook group is the worst thing a woman can have. Because all these older chicks going to tell her to leave because they low-key want to get with that man. They don't really have a shot. But in their mind, they think they got a shot. So a lot of these younger women need to stop listening to older women. Like, I wish women were like men. I don't listen to men that don't get women, right? But women, they listen to women that are single. Why would you not listen to a woman that's been married for a long time, that's in a marriage that you're envy of? Women never do that.
Well, you know, I mean, the real problem is that rather than having their own happily ever after, you've entered an era of people who don't have respect for marriage. They don't have respect for their role. They only want to take on wife responsibilities when they have to and don't have another option. But as far as walking in the door and saying, okay, I'm applying for this position, I don't need that. I got a job. So their job becomes their man, and they're perfectly fine because the job gives them veto power and defiance. So now it doesn't matter how bad I act with a man. He can't punish me because I have a job to back me up in defying him. Well, that all works great and works perfectly fine until you get into your 30s. And then you realize, oh, you're just that lonely old woman down the street with the cats? Yeah, that's you now. Like, that's your life. You're sitting around, you're in front of the television with a fruit bowl and reruns of the Jeffersons, and that's where that's become your life. Like, you used to be somebody. To all the females listening to me right now, those of you in your 30s and 40s, what happened to you? What happened? You used to have a producer. You used to have a dude had you iced up and looking good. You used to have a fella who gave you purpose. Did your narcissism ruin that? Did your conceit? Ladies, can we have a come to Jason moment? Did your narcissism ruin that? Did your arrogance ruin that? Did your ghetto mama, your broke down daddy or grandmama, did they ruin that for you? Did you have this situation and you were just plain old scared and silly and you ruined that? Now you're staring down the barrel of 40 or 50 and the only people who would have committed to you, you don't have those options anymore. Because let's be very, very clear. I told you this all before. When a woman gets over the age of 40, there are no new takers. The max she's going to get, there's not anybody who's going to outbid where you've been. The only men who are going to bid are the ones you were with in your 30s or 20s. If you can still contact them. If you can still get them to make an offer. Other than that, you don't have that. Only the men who used to know you when you were young, because the guys that you're meeting in your 40s and 50s, they don't get any of the benefit of your youth. Well, I go get me a younger fella. Sure. How'd that work out for Brittany Renner and Nia Long? By the way, how's that working out for them? So, ladies, how many of you recognize, can you just level with it? You know that's you. It's like, yeah, Jason, I was a hard head and this, that, and the other, and I thought these draws were never going to get old. I was believing what they were saying. I could do whatever, whenever. Ain't no man going to tell me what to do. Now you sitting up here late at night. Boy, I wish I had a man to tell me what to do. Boy, I wish I had a man to tell me what to do.
Mm-hmm. They treat it like they treat marriage like a 401k plan instead of like the main plan.
Well, like I say, definitely be careful when you want to have the option to self-destruct, because eventually that option is going to come into view. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Gonna be a hard lesson to learn going forward. Look, we have lived long enough now for Kim Kardashian, Nicole Murphy, Nicole Young, Nia Long. How damn long we gotta let this list get? None of them are eligible for anything. I told you all that once Kim Kardashian divorced Kanye West, you know who she's eligible for? Kanye West. Some of them folks, remember some of the clowns? Jason, you was proven wrong. Oh, Kim, take a look at where she at now. She got Pete Davidson. I said, if you think this little Fruit Loop floppy sock bastard is going to last, I said, you can just start counting the days. He didn't make it any amount of time. And by the way, if you'll notice that Kim used the strategy that her mama taught her, that I've told you all about here for years, she didn't make an enemy out of Pete. She said a bunch of stuff that is outright lies. She's running around now talking about, oh, Pete, she went with him because she was digging his sexual energy and whatnot. Yeah, you dug his sexual energy for so much you couldn't hang for a year. You traded him in after a year. She's going out and talking him up. But you notice what she said? He's going to make a great husband to some lucky woman one day. Kim, I thought you was in the market for another husband. What happened? She's not making an enemy out of him, but she's not going to make a husband out of him either. And what was the first thing she did after she broke up with Pete Davidson? Kanye West is back in her mouth. Kanye, will you please leave us alone? He wasn't messing with you. He was getting at Pete. He didn't say your name. Yeah, she wants her name linked to Kanye. It's okay, Kanye, can you come? I'm messing with Kanye because you know you're going to respond, right? Yeah. Divorcing Kanye made her eligible for Kanye. Did I call it or did I call it? And now Nia Long and her boyfriend. Did I call it or did I call it?